So when I realized it's no Tracy coming down with the cops and the security guards, right? I was like, oh my God, like I'm about to go to jail by myself, right? So the other cops and security guard, they like taking pictures of me, like basically like an update, like I came back in the building. So they like, look, it's consequences. If you keep coming back to this building, they like, we're gonna have to take you to jail every time. I'm like, I can't go to jail. I'm like, my grandpa, I'm like, he's a cop. I'm like, my dad, he's fine. I'm like, I feel sick. So they like, you feel sick? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, they're like, here's a garbage can. So it was a garbage can like in the little office. It was a big one. So I'm throwing up. I'm sick to my stomach. I do not want to go to jail. I've never been to jail before. So I don't know what am I up against. So you see Lala, you see Mary, they come downstairs. So they like, hey, where you taking him? Where you taking him? They like, hey, we're gonna take him to the main one. So they telling them exactly where they gonna take me. So you see Lala like, I'm gonna make sure, Shorty, I'm gonna get you out. Don't worry, I'm gonna get you, Shorty. So Mary like, I got you, don't worry. I'm like, I don't wanna go to jail. They like, hey, you can't. I'm crying, snot crying. I'm like, I don't want to go. I'm like, please don't take me to jail. I'm thinking that these people are just trying to teach me a lesson. I'm thinking they just trying to teach me a lesson. So boom, Lala like, I promise you, I'm gonna make sure you good. So boom, they like, oh, they said the paddy wag. So at first I didn't know what a paddy wag was. I thought I was gonna be getting in a cop car, right? They put my hands, I had my hands behind my back. They're like, all right, we gotta put the cuffs back on. They put the cuffs back on. I'm like, it's too tight. He like, hey, you'll be okay. So he like, we'll loosen it up when you get to the paddy wag. We get to the paddy wag, right? They like, hey, do we need to check again? So I'm like, check what again? They like, check you. I'm like, no, I don't get nothing. So they check me. I ain't had nothing. I'm like, I'm crying, bro. They open up the paddy wag. Boom. Once they slide it, I get in there. They like, come on, scoot your. They telling me to scoot my posterior, and they unlock me, but they lock me to another person. So I'm like handcuffed with another person. So it's like about 3 of us in this. One by me, and then there's one, and they in these hard seats. I'm not capping you on my parents. It's no comfortable seats. I was sitting there and you get no windows. So it was like whatever little sunlight we saw, they just had like a little gate on. Like you could still see a little light, but not really. So it was like we was in a mini prison. So I'm crying. And so the girl across from me, she crying too. But the dude next to me, it seemed like he been doing this before. So the girl, she looking, she crying. She like, man, all of a sudden she was grown. These was overly grown people. She peed on herself. And I was just like, when I tell y'all my life flashed before I thought about everybody in my family. I was thinking about people I did wrong. I was just like, yo, I want to change my life. Soon as I got that paddy wag, my whole life flashed before. I was thinking about people that I didn't even like. That was on my list of things to forget about. Okay, and I was just like, right then and there, I was panicking. Boom, they pull up. So I'm trying to look like, wait, we here? Like, but they was grabbing somebody else. They grabbed another girl, a stud-looking girl. And they handcuffed her with the other girl. And so she like, let me out. So she kicking. She being dramatic. She kicking. She, boom, boom. Because the way they was sitting, the girl and the stud girl, it was to the driver and the passenger. So they was like, boom. She was like, boom, boom. Like, they had to pull over. They like, hey, I'm going to punish all of y'all. First off, wait a minute. It ain't even me. But that's just how jail be. So we like trying to calm her down. Like, hey, chill. She like, they trying to lock me up. That was my auntie. She told me I'm trespass. She just dropped, blah, 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 blah. She going back and forth, right? Boom. We pull up. So I'm like, we here. So I'm like, oh my God. So they slide the door up. They're like, come on. So boom, I get up. I'm like, I was crying. I'm talking about ball. I'm like, I think I'm finna. I threw her right at the door before I even got there. Boom. As soon as we got there, we see the cops. They put their pistol in this locker, and then they go through this door, right? So boom, we in this other door, okay? Boom. They're like, hey, you sit right here. So I sat down. They handcuffed me to the seat. So everywhere I was sitting, I was being handcuffed. But it was better because I wasn't handcuffed for nobody else. So the first thing first, I'm like, excuse me. The people that was behind the desk, I'm like, excuse me. They looking at me. I'm like, hey. They're like, hey. I'm like, can I make a phone call? They're like, no. I'm like, well, can you make a phone call for me? No, you'll be given a phone call when you get processed. I'm like, processed? I didn't know what that means. Look, I'm talking about, I had to use it. I'm talking about everything was going on with my system. I had to boo-boo. I had to pee. I needed to make a call. I'm nervous. I'm thinking about everybody. Everything is going on in my mind. Is Lala and them really coming to get me? So boom. The dude, he tell me, say, you ready? I'm like, yes. So I got the little sad face on. So we go inside the office. He sit me down on the thing. He said, all right. He said, do you want me to handcuff you? I'm like, no, my wrist hurt. He like, I don't think you're going to run nowhere. You can sit right there. He had his door open. So he like, okay. So he got behind his desk. Now he doing paperwork. So he say, so you got barred from the building when? I'm like, I don't remember. So he said, did you know you was barred? I'm like, yeah, but I didn't know how long. Like, so you came back to a building when you didn't supposed to come and you got caught. I'm like, yeah. So he's like, okay. So he writing everything down. I'm like, am I going to jail? He like, you are in jail. So my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm in jail. This is not bad. I can sit right here, right? And so I say, can I call somebody so I can get out? He like, yeah. He like, we're not going to hold you that long. So my man, I'm like, all right, great. Right? So he looked at my background. He like, oh, you never been in trouble before, right? And so I was like, no, I never been in trouble before. He like, okay, I see a little bit of alternative school here. He like, but okay. He like, it seemed like overall you're a good kid. You never been in trouble by the law. I'm like, no. He like, okay. He like, oh, your father a firefighter. I'm like, yeah. Oh, so they was pulling up everything, right? When they had myself, they put up everything. So I was just like, oh my God, right? Like everything was out on the table. So he said, okay. He said, well, you'll be able to make a call shortly. All right. So I'm sitting there. So he like, all right, I got to go and process these papers. So he clipped my wrist with the cuffs, and I was at, like, not in a chair, but it was like a long bench, like one of those benches that you sit on. And he had me clipped to the end. So I'm just sitting there. So people was coming in and they was like, how old are you? Because I looked at like a super baby. So I was just like looking at them. I told them, boom. So everybody going back and forth. So I'm just like, man, my booty hurting. So I kept swapping the booty. Now I done got myself into this whole mix over some girls. But the whole time, why was Tracy there? I came to dip with Mary, and I was, cool with Mia, cool with, like, I got all, Tracy got me not friended with, you know what I'm saying, with Mia, like, everything was just going left, and I was like, dang, she ain't even caught. She still, like, she good, like, how did she get out the flame, you feel me? So, I'm just still sitting down, I'm rethinking and recapping everything. Boom. The cop's like, hey, all right, come on, you're gonna go with my partner. I'm like, go where? He like, they're gonna go get you processed. I'm like, process where? He's like, so you can go to jail. I'm like, well, but you said I'm not going to jail. You said this is jail. He said, yeah, but you're going to, he like, this is just where you come in and we do the report, but we take you somewhere else so you can get processed. I'm like, okay. I don't got no choice. So I was like, but can I make the phone call? He said, once you're done getting process. I said, but you said I wasn't going to be here long. He like, you're not. He said, you just can't go back to that building again. I said, okay, so boom. We get in the cop car. I got my thing. I'm like, can you please? So I'm telling him, like, can you please take me out of this or untighten this? So he like, no. So dude like straight telling me no. So I'm like, ugh. So I'm getting angry. I'm already mad. So I'm like, ugh. So I'm like, it's fine. I'll break my wrist. I'm saying all type of crazy stuff. He finally pulled over. He unloosened the cuffs. I'm like, can we just take them off? Because that, like me, I don't like to be restricted to anything. And plus, just having your arms like this for a long time, that hurt. That hurt. So he took it off. Boom, we get there. He like, all right, you ready? I'm like, yeah. So we get there. He said, all right, give me your finger. He took my finger. So I'm like, what you doing? He like, we're processing you. So they was taking a copy of my finger, copy of my thumb. So they're like, all right, so boom. They put me in like this little area where since I just got there, I need to eat something before I go in the cell. So I didn't know I was going in the cell. So I was still able to see cops. So me, I'm just blind. I'm good. So they come with a tray. It was a peanut butter and jelly graham cracker sandwich. First off, hold on. I'm allergic to nuts. I'm allergic to nuts. So I was like, what is it? Like, you know what I'm saying? And then there was a milk. And I said, oh, because he was like, you need to put some in your stomach. I said, I'm allergic to nuts. He like, oh, okay, hold on. So he take it. He come back. And he come back with a sandwich. I don't eat bread. But you can't be picky in jail. You can't be picky in jail. You can't. How can you be picky in jail? So when he came with the sandwich, I was like, I don't eat bread. He said, well, just eat the meat off it. I was like, what kind of meat is this? He said, salami and bologna. I don't eat that. I don't eat salami. He like, well, you're going to be hungry then. So I was just like, I guess I'll be hungry. So I was just sitting there. So boom, you hear them talking. And I'm just sitting, I'm like, oh, my booty hurting. So he comes back hours later. So I'm like, when they going to let me go? So I was like, he come, I say, hey, he like, ready to make your call? I'm like, yeah. He like, okay. Now, I asked him straight up, like, can I see my phone? Because they confiscated, they took my phone and stuff. I said, can I see my phone? Because I didn't know no numbers by heart. So, boom, I called my grandpapa. He don't pick up. I'm like, so that was like, okay. I'm like, they didn't pick up. I'm like, can I make one more call? Like, yeah. So, boom. I call Lala, right? I didn't even call Mary. I called Lala straight up. And so Lala pick up. I'm like, hey. She like, Shorty, gee, what's going on? I'm like, I'm here. I'm like, you still coming to get me? And she like, yeah. So she like, what's the address? So I asked the cops, I get the address. So they're like, when they say you getting out? And I say, they didn't say. They just said I wasn't going to be here alone. She say, ask them. So I hear a lot of, like a lot of, like everybody doing their thing. So I'm like, is people still partying? Like, or what? But, you know, I'm focused on trying to get out. So, boom, they end up telling me, like, oh, well, it's the weekend. It's the weekend. I ain't going to be able to, you know, see a judge until Monday. So I'm like, first off, it's Friday, okay? If you've been paying attention to the story time, it was a weekend. So it's a Friday, all right? So to know that I'm finna be locked down for a couple of days until I can see a judge and they let me go. And so I was like, it ain't no judge here on the weekend? They're like, no. So I was set it like normally too on the holidays. Lucky it's not a holiday. So I'm like, don't worry. I'm going to make sure I'm there Monday. I'm coming Monday morning. I'm like, okay. She like, just keep calling. She like, make sure you call me. All right, cool. She like, I love you, Shorty. I'm like, hey, where Tracy at? She like, she here. I'm like, oh, how they catch me? She like, look, your call's getting recorded. She like, I'll talk to you. I'm like, all right, boom, I hang up. So they're like, come on. We're going to go ahead and take you to your cell. I'm like, cell? He like, yeah, we're going to take you to your cell. I freaked all the way out. So he like, it's not like a jail. He like, this is a holding cell before we take you to jail. So I'm like, wait, so I'm not. So I was confused because they keep taking me from faculty to faculty. Like, it's a process with this. So I was like, oh, okay. So boom, when he takes me in there, as soon as he takes us to the back, open the gates, you hear everybody, hey, like talking. You hear girls, you hear dudes, but they in their own personal cells. So I'm like, I'm scared. He like, they're not going to be able to do that. So I go in. So this dude like, oh, some fresh meat. So the girl like, let me see. So I'm like, it's cold in here now. They had this, it was a bed looking thing, but it was metal. It was metal. It was something. It was hard. Okay, this was not for you to be comfortable. You wasn't at your 5-top star bed, memory foam mattress, none of that. So I sit down on it first, so my posterior start hurting. So then I start trying to get creative, but I start getting tired. And me, I'm anemic. I got cold. I didn't have they don't give you covers and pillows in there. So but I got my arms tucked in the shirt. I'm like, hey, now I'm talking. It's to the point because I'm so cold. Hey. Now, even if I use the bathroom, people can see me, or the guards or the cops can see me when they walk past. So I didn't even want to pee. So one of the guards come. They're like, yeah, that's you yelling? I'm like, yeah, because the other girl was getting mad because I kept on saying, hey. And she was like, shut up. She was like, shut up. I'm like, I'm cold. But she like, so what? Use your clothes. I'm not finna get, cause this not my habitat. I'm not used to this. So boom, the dude he like, hey, that's you yelling. I'm like, yeah. I'm cold. Straight up, I'm like, I'm cold. He like, well, we don't carry cover here. He like, and I don't think they're gonna be able to cut the air down for you. So I'm like, but I'm freezing. I'm cold. He like, hold on, I'll be right back. So he come with a bigger coat. He said, here, just wrap this around. So he give me a coat. He was nice. So boom, the next day come. I'm like, man, I get up. I don't know what time it is, nothing. So one of the guards come like, hey, say my name. Roshan, are you ready for your call? Yeah. So I'm like, I need to call my grandpapa. I call my grandpapa. He picks up. I'm like, grandpapa, I'm in jail. He like, what? I'm like, I'm in jail. I was like, I spent the night here. I'm in jail. I'm like, my back hurt. I'm crying, right? So he like, okay, tell me what jail. Ooh, let me talk to somebody. So they end up talking. Ooh. So they like, he basically told them like to get me out the cell. They like, well, we can't do that. He already been processed. So my grandpa like, hey, I'm on the way. Like, you don't process him. He not 21. They like, well, we could put him in a cabbage patch. So I didn't even know what a cabbage patch was. After they hung up, I didn't really know what was truly going on. So boom, they like, come on, let's go back to the cell. I'm like, so I go back to the cell. All of a sudden, my cell door open. I think it's time to be free. They bring somebody else in. So this dude, they bring a dude in my cell, right? He been there before numerous of times. So he like, oh, you a little baby. What you do? Probably something innocent. What, you took candy from a store? I'm like, no. I'm like, I was borrowed from a building and they caught me. He like, and they bring you to jail for that instead of just kicking you out the building? I'm like, yeah. He like, oh, I gotta take a. I'm like, huh? He like, I gotta take a. He like, you don't mind, do you? He like, cause I can't hold it. It's only one toilet and there ain't no doors in there, man. This man pulled down his pants